As midnight approaches, or actually as midnight nears, it's an editorial. I'm going to read this to you because this is an editorial from 31 December 1982. 1982, 31 December. All right, the economy at times has never seemed so bleak since the Great Depression. More than 11 million Americans are out of work, and factories are running at the lowest level of capacity since World War II. At the same time, there are bright moments, with inflation and interest rates starting to decline, and bursts of businesses outnumbering bankruptcies. But in 1982, man once again demonstrated his resourcefulness for terror, the depths of his hate and his potential for destruction. The sabotage that began with the poisoning of the extra-strength Tylenol capsules has never been solved and goes on sporadically, just often enough to make one wonder if anything is safe anymore. This is 1982. This was a year of wars in the Falklands, Afghanistan, and Lebanon, and an uneasy peace. Of civilian massacres that horrified the world, and of guerrilla fighting that threatened the stability of Central America. Negotiations and elections offered some hope, but 1982 ended with much left to do to build peace and democracy and little time to do it. Fortunately, 1982 has had its light moments too, and he's talked about some stuff we won't get into. It was a strange year for sports. The institution of professional football was rattled down to its cleats with a long, bitter strike that made no friends. The big star in sports was a hockey player named Gretzky, who once played here in Indianapolis for the Indianapolis Racers in minor league. And the biggest story of baseball was a thief named Henderson, for Ricky Henderson. Let's see. There's no getting around it. This has been an odd 12 months. There's no Man of the Year for Time Magazine. There's no Man of the Year for Time Magazine. Only Machine, the computer, won the Man of the Year. Likewise, the box office giant was neither a dashing hero nor a ravishing heroine, but a dried-up little creature named E.T. Perhaps it's fitting that the big cinema hit these offbeat months was Tootsie, a movie about an actor so desperate for work that he dresses up as a woman and becomes an instant success. How dare he? How dare he dress up as a woman and pretend? Doesn't he know the genders are out, how many genders there are? And so for the final minutes of 1982 slip away, it's a year that won't go down in history as the best or worst of times, but rather a strange time that really could have been better. The clock will soon be running on 1983. May its days be brighter and the world stronger when midnight comes this way. All right, so the point being is, man, so I'm just going through my Newspaperscom subscription. I actually subscribed. I hated to do it, but for $1 a month, I subscribed to the New York Times. I could care less what they report today, but they have a history which goes back, 150 years, which is fun to read. Especially if you're like me, you're convinced the Mandela effect where history gets changed. Anyway, the point being is I do subscribe to both these things. And as I'm working on my book on just tons and tons of stuff on what I'm trying to accomplish with my book on retirement planning, going back to these things is fun because we start to see at the end of the day, we've been through this a million times a Sunday. That does not mean the commies aren't coming. That does not mean a Carrington event can't happen again. Huh, interesting. Carrington event. No one cared about it until 2003. Almost it was. They're picking stuff out of the air to make us scared about. The Tylenol thing. Remember the razor blades and your apples for Halloween, trick-or-treating? It's just one poop show after another to get you fearful. And yet 1982 was the best time in the history of mankind to invest in the markets, man. What do I got? I don't think I got that here. The best time in the history of mankind to invest in the markets. What is this right here? This is commodity prices in 1932 to 1933. 1932 to 1930. Yeah, there you go. It's interesting because we're seeing here's just wheat. It went from 74 cents a bushel to 62 cents a bushel over the course of 1932. It has nothing to do with 1982, but the point being that was a depression where the prices actually went down. Corn went from 52 cents a bushel to 40 cents a bushel. Rye, 62 cents to 51. Coffee went up actually from 7 1/4 per pound to 8.25. Sugar went down a little bit. Let's see. Eggs, 24 cents in January of 1932 a dozen to 31 cents a dozen. So that went up pretty significantly, actually. Isn't that interesting? Beef, 200 pounds was $17.99 at January 1932, went down to 13 in January 1992. It looks like it's 200 pounds. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? Copper went from 5 cents, I'm not sure, a pound, I guess, I'm not sure, 1,000 pounds to 7.5 cents. So copper went up 50% over that time. Coffee went up, we already talked about that. Flour went way up. Oh, these are the ranges in prices, excuse me, so scratch that. That's the ranges in prices. So scratch what I just said. Whereas the last we left off was beef went down from $17.99 for 200 pounds, it looks like, to 13. That's crazy, man. Anyway, so there you go, per pound that is. Butter went down. Pork went way down. Anyway, so it's just a tale of two different cycles here, and it's going to be interesting to see how we shake out. But you know, we've been through this before, but we haven't. We don't, because we don't know where we're going. We have no idea. But in 1982, do you not remember how scary that was back then? I mean, I was 12 years old. Even I remember. I wasn't so scared about the economy because I didn't really know that much, but I was scared about nuclear war. You know, we're all going to die because Reagan, and you know, if you're a pro-America, which we were not, we're not anti-American back then, but we certainly weren't big. You know, I was raised by far left loons, so we blamed everything on Reagan, where everyone else blamed everything on the Soviets. And you know, and as I've come in hindsight, it was the Soviets. That's what I'm saying. But still, it's freaking scary, dude. Yet, if you missed out, you missed out on the greatest wealth creation for just regular Joes has ever seen in the history of mankind. Isn't that crazy? So just remember that. All right. Love to hear your thoughts. We'll see you